So a tuple, as we talk about, is basically an immutable sequence of data with a fixed size. So when we say immutable, it is the kind where once assigned some value to a tuple, it cannot be altered. Like a value once assigned to a tuple cannot be removed, or extra values can be added into a tuple. That functionality is not provided by tuples. So let's start with declaring a tuple. To create a tuple, commas are used to separate a sequence of values, like in this case tuple 11, whereas another way of doing it is using a parenthesis, just in this case of tuple 1, but both stand in the similar way, right? So parentheses, however, are just optional, but they can just improve readability, especially when the declaration expression is not straightforward. Another way of adding values and tuples is directly adding some mathematical expression like this, like a division or multiplication or addition or anything you want, directly into a tuple, so that the values or the mathematical expression can be performed inside it. Just like in this case, I'm just assigning 200 divided by 2 in the very first index of it, and it just did as 100, right? So another functionality in tuple is I can basically multiply the values of tuple into the times I want it. So let's say I want the tuple values twice. So I'll just write tuple 2 multiplied by twice, right? I can do it in number of times. It will just go on as much I want. But a thing to be remembered over here is the value that you are multiplying should always be an integer value and not a float value, right? So these are a few examples of how to assign a different types of values in a tuple. So this case is a nested tuple. Basically, there's another tuple that I've assigned inside a previously assigned tuple. Just like in the tuple 4, I've just created a tuple, whereas in tuple 5, if you see, there was a predefined tuple named as tuple 3 that I just provided to tuple 5. So you see, it won't just provide me tuple 3, but the values of tuple 3, right? Special cases in a tuple are basically that we create an empty tuple using a pair of parentheses, like in tuple 6, and a single value tuple using a comma following the only value, like a 50, like in the case of tuple 7, you see. All right. However, another way of initializing a tuple is basically using an built-in tuple method, just used in the following cases. So it actually works as an iterable as its only argument. So the generated tuple will be a sequence of the iterated items for the iterable. So just to make it simpler for you, so let's say in this case, the tuple 5, I'm assigning a list A and B. So when I'm writing outside the tuple method, it will just iterate over this list and assign the values inside that particular list into the tuple 5, right? Just in this case. So if I write anything inside the tuple method, it will just iterate entirely over it and provide me an individual value of it. So when I write an individual string inside a tuple method, it will just return me the entire tuple, like that. So if you see, right, so see, it is iterating over all the values that you are providing inside that method. So let's say I'm providing a dictionary as well, it will just provide me the key pair, right, A and true. So in these examples, you can see what the tuple looks like when generated from a string, dict, and list basically. So now after a tuple is created, we sometimes need to access some of the values. So in this case, I want to access the values of tuple 1, let's say. I want to access the value 700. So one way to do is by using a zero based index. So when I say zero based index, I have just to write a number, particularly starting from 0th to n number of items in that particular tuple. I'll just write 0. So it just provides me the very first index of that tuple, right? So this is just a zero based index. Now another one is where I have a tuple or a list inside a tuple. So I'll just have to do double indexing, right? So for the first thing, I'll just access another tuple. So this will just provide me the entire value of the tuple inside it, right? Now if I want to access the values of this tuple, I'll just index it again based on the number of values I have and what I want, right? So this is how double indexing works. This was the case of positive indexing. So when I say positive indexing, it just goes from 0 to n, whereas negative indexing starts from -1. So -1 is the index provided to the very last term of that tuple. So when I say I want to assign tuple 2, and minus 1 will provide me the very last value of that tuple, which in this case is minus 5, right? And so on until n term. So when we do positive indexing, always remember it starts from left to right, and when we do negative indexing, it just traverses from right to left, right? So while accessing range of items, you just have to write the range of indexes that you want to access. Just a thing to be kept in mind is Python always understands the range from 0 to n minus 1. So in this case, when I provide 0 to 3, it will just return me from 0 to n minus 1, which in this case will be 0 to 3 minus 1, which is 2. So 0 to 2 will be the values of indexes which I'll be getting, right? In the similar way, it works for negative indexing. So another concept that you may have often heard about tuples is tuple unpacking, right? So when I talk about unpacking, it allows me to access individual elements. So let's say I have a tuple unpack which have few values, as you can see, a list, a dictionary, string, and an integer value. So I want to assign all of these values to individual variables. I'll just write something like this, preceding with commas, like a comma b comma c comma d. I've written it 4 times because my values over here are 4 inside the tuple. So you see the values are assigned. The very first value of unpack tuple will be provided to a, and accordingly I'll just get the last value in d. See, right? So at times when we unpack a tuple, we are not sure about how many values are present in a tuple, or even we don't need to access all the individual elements, right? So in that case, I'll just write an underscore. So underscore indicates that we don't care about the values between those things. So in this case, let's say I have a tuple pack underscore tuple. It consists of 3 values, and I don't care about the middle value. The very first value is assigned to a, the very last value is assigned to c, and all the middle values are assigned to underscore, which I honestly don't care about, right? So this is how you can do it. Another way of doing it is we can use the asterisk function to denote a sequence of elements in a tuple. So let's say I'm not sure about how many number of elements are present in between the first and the last element, right? So in that case, I'll just write an asterisk and with it a suffix of a variable that I want to store all the middle values in it. So in this case, see, so I just gave it asterisk middle, and all the values starting from 22 to the last one, which is 14, is assigned to middle. Underscore and asterisk can be used together. So let's say I'm not sure about the very first value, like let's say 10. So I don't care about the very first value, and the tailing value I'll care about. So hence I've written this thing. Whereas in the opposite case, I care about only the first value and not the last value. So I'll just write star underscore, right? See, so this is how unpacking works basically. So let's learn about updating the tuple now. So when we talk about updating a tuple, let's see, I have a tuple 2. Now as we learned in list, I can basically just assign a particular value that I want to update in the required index. Let's say I want to change the value in index 2, that is 3. I just want to update it to 2.5. So in this case, it will just return me an error, since as I said earlier, tuple is an immutable object. It doesn't support updating, it doesn't support deleting a value, right? But what we can do instead of that is we can just combine two sets of tuple together and form a new tuple. But we cannot just play around with the old tuple, or we cannot edit with the old tuple. We can just create a new tuple, something like this. See, my old tuple looks something like this. The second tuple looks something like this. I just combined all of them together, and that looks like this. I can just use the third one, right? So now when we talk about deleting a tuple, so I can entirely delete a tuple, but I cannot delete a particular part of a tuple or a particular index of a tuple. Let's say I just want to delete the middle tuple. I cannot just do something like this, right? Because it doesn't provide me that functionality. So I'll just delete the entire tuple 5, let's say. See, after I just deleted tuple 5, I just tried checking out the values of tuple 5 and just threw me an error saying that tuple 5 is not defined. So for deleting the entire tuple, just write del space and the name of the tuple, right? This is how it works again, right? Now, as we learned about the fact that tuple doesn't provide or doesn't support deleting or appending a particular value inside a tuple, but still I would say elements of tuple are however mutable. A tuple is an immutable object, but the elements of a tuple might be a mutable element. It might sound a little confusing. Let me explain you by an example. So let's say I have assigned a tuple, or I have initialized a tuple mutable elements which consists of an integer, a list, and a dictionary. So here I cannot append a value inside the tuple mutable elements, but I can append a value inside a particular element of a tuple, in this case in a list or even in a dictionary. So I can append values in a list, right? So as we learned about, to access list inside a tuple, I'll just write the index of it, which is 1 in this case, right? And just append, and the value which I want to append, I'll just write inside it, right? See, I have just appended a value inside an element. So it is a mutable element. However, it was a mutable element because it was a list. It is a list because, right? So similar thing can be done with a dictionary. So in this case, if I want to access the second index, which is my dictionary, I'll just write 2, which is my dictionary, and again 2. So which provides me the second index of dictionary that I want to assign in, and just write 2. So over here 2 acts as a key and not an index, right? So don't confuse it. If I write something like this, I can also write as number, just to make it much more simpler for you. See, it was a key and not an index, right? So the basic tuple methods, apart from all that we learned above, first of all is length. If I want to check length of a particular tuple, I'll just write len parenthesis name of the tuple, and it will just provide me the number of elements I have in that particular tuple. So now second thing is, let's say I have a tuple 1 which consists of values like this. Now if I want to count a frequency of particular value, let's say if I want to count the frequency of 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, or according to your values inside your tuple, in this case let's consider 1. So it will just print 3. For that I'll just write the name of the tuple dot count parentheses inside the value that I want to count the frequency of, right? So this is how you can just calculate the length of the entire tuple and also count the frequency of a particular element, right? Now next thing, right, as we learned above as well, we cannot amend a particular tuple, but we can create in another tuple out of two different tuples or multiple tuples, basically something like this. This process or this functionality of tuple is called as concatenate, where we combine one or more tuples into a single tuple, right? Now if I want to access every or each element in a tuple, I'll just iterate over it, right? Another method for it, as we saw about, was the inbuilt method function tuple, right? See, so new tuple had something like this. It just provided me, or it just iterated over each element of it. So one thing to be kept in mind is, it won't iterate into a nested tuple or a nested list or nested dictionary. It will just consider this entire thing as a particular element and not a different element, right? So in this case, when it iterated over it, it just returned an entire tuple and not single values of tuple again, right? So if I want to check a particular value in a tuple, I'll just write, let's say, a particular value in a tuple. It will just return me a boolean value saying it whether it is present or not, saying by true or false accordingly. So I can basically check the entire tuple as well, right? and so on. I can just check a particular part of a tuple by indexing into a next tuple. So this is how tuples are, this is how a tuple is, this is how tuple looks like. So we learned various things about tuples today, and if you want to check out various inbuilt methods for tuples, you can just click on this link. I'll basically attaching this entire notebook that you can see over here in the description below. Just check that out and let me know if you have any queries or if you face any problems while understanding tuples or anything about it. Alright, thank you very much guys.